as a fan of sort of the unrealistic craziness aspect of some of the Bond films, I sort of like the idea of there being these people out there that are just so supernaturally powerful in certain ways, and that Bond is this normal guy that needs to find ways around them to defeat them. And I understand it can't happen in every movie because it would get really repetitive and stuff. But for the instances where we do have a really, really, really well established, unique character like Jaws, I think that's something to be commended about the film.
When Barack Obama became president, Daniel Craig mentioned that at some point a black Bond may be possible. What do you think? Matt, I think I'll start with you this time.
I think if someone has a good story they want to tell about James Bond being black, then I want to see it. So I don't really have any objection to it. I think if you're just purely going to go on an interesting race for Bond to be, I think Indian might be a good one, just because India's been part of the British Empire, more recently. So there's probably an interesting sort of backstory opportunity there for why he would want to be part of MI6. But I guess it just, is there a story there or not?
David, do you think there can be a black Bond?
Well, I think I heard some kind of rumor that Diddy, Sean Combs wanted to be Bond, and that's why he had like all these like helicopters and stuff in one of his new music videos. But I mean, I like Bond the way he is right now.
All right. Grant.
Again, not a big fan of changing a character that's been around for such a long time and has already been established as Caucasian European. So don't really subscribe to that. Daniel Craig, I just think, should not be allowed to make open statements that are up for debate about the James Bond series because he's terrible.
He's been in movies and he's even helped to write one of them.
Yeah, look how well that turned out. It was Quantum, and it wasn't the best. So it's like, well, if they let a big dumb idiot like me be Bond, well, then I guess they can let anybody be Bond, You can have a 90-year-old Asian woman play Bond. See what that would be like. It'd be an interesting little tale.
All right. Well, Grant, I don't agree about the Daniel Craig statements, but I do I do agree that Bond should stay at least within a certain range of what the character is. He's a British Caucasian man. For example, you wouldn't have a white Shaft.
Yeah. If we change it anymore, again, it will be the codename theory. It won't be a character anymore. He'll cease to exist as what was established for him in the first 20 films. And so there should be a black secret agent movie. That sounds awesome, but just not this character. Make a different character. Make it be 008.
Ice Cube.
Sure.
Felix Leiter movie.
Felix Leiter movie.
I would be first in line to
buy
that
sounds awesome.
first Felix Leiter.
Felix Leiter movie.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright is awesome.
Totally.
I think he'd be great. Skyfall.
I heard that Q was going to be played by like some kid or something.
Yes, it's Ben something. He's actually in his 30s. But,
Oh, well, I mean, he looked young in the picture, but I thought Q was going to be played by that other guy, Cleese or whatever his name was.
Oh, John Cleese. I actually thought he did a great job as Q. But, I kind of miss him as Q.
Yeah.
I, of course, miss Desmond Llewellyn as Q, but my thoughts on the future of the franchise. I like elements of the gritty tone that they're doing, but I think they do definitely need to pull it back. Casino Royale had the spy elements and it had a lot of the gritty tone. Quantum had the gritty tone on steroids. So I think they should pull it back, go closer to the level of Casino Royale. From what I'm hearing about the plot of Skyfall, and I really don't know much, I hear it's going to be, the plot itself is going to be unlike any Bond film we've seen before, but the elements of the film are going to be kind of classic elements. So I don't know, we'll see. what appeals to you in the franchise?
I think it's the high concept idea of what if a spy saved the world. I think that's a good idea because spies are sort of like real life vigilantes. They sort of operate outside of the normal rules of justice, even though they're government sanctioned. They're sort of murderers, basically. And so you got this whole idea of vigilante justice, sort of they're almost like superheroes. And if you make it the main character a spy, he kind of has that status. And then you say, okay, well, then we have to have, if that's possible, then there has to be this villainous secret organization that's involved in all this skullduggery and stuff. And so that's, Spectre and Blofeld. And I think the story elements of Bond really sort of flow naturally from that idea. What if a spy, saved the world? It makes sense.
I think the concept of Bond as a character, and it's kind of like a retrospective look because he's been played by so many different actors in so many different ways, but I think for the most part they didn't really stray too far from what is the core of Ian Fleming's character. Even Roger Moore, to a certain degree, emulated elements of Fleming's Bond. And I think that complexity kind of allows for that everyman aspect where you can almost imagine yourself in that role, but at the same time, would you really want to be in that role? I once heard someone say that James Bond is a three-dimensional character portrayed often two-dimensionally, where you only see the surface of what he is, but deep down there's a lot more going on. And I think what the three-dimensional aspect was played especially well in the Dalton films, but you kind of have that duality there, which I think is really cool.
We hope you've enjoyed our discussion of the Bond series. We'll return to the series again to review 2012's Skyfall. In the meantime, feel free to explore our previous reviews and be sure to keep an eye out for our upcoming reviews.
No more Craig.
You can't end with no more Craig.
Okay,
that can't be the final thought.
Steer it back. There are so many good things about all of the other films.
Keep up the good work. That's what I say.
And you know what?
Some men are coming to kill us. We're gonna kill them first.